Hello everybody, how's it going? We're live, pal. Hiya, we're live on YouTube, baby. How's everyone doing? Hope everyone's having a pleasant Sunday. It is dark here. It's 8:30 at night here in jolly old England. We are pretty dark. Yeah, I've got to have the light on. It's that dark. It's now. I think today, the 1st of September, is the first meteorological day of autumn. And nights have been definitely drawn in now for quite a while. Winter is upon us. It's not light now till gone 6 in the morning. It's dark about 7:45 at night. So yeah, it's going great here in jolly old England. It's been a nice day though. Good 20 degrees. I think you guys if you're watching in the States, you guys have got a Labour Day weekend. Is it Labour Day tomorrow? Monday? We had our last bank holiday last Monday. We had days off or whatever. And the kids go back to school Thursday. So it'll be a lot quieter. So that'll be fun. You can probably hear me now. Jesus Christ. I think I was quiet the whole time. Hopefully not. But I can hear myself. Yes, I can hear myself. Oh no, you could hear me. Hello to anyone viewing. Come and say hello. Come and pop in the chat. We can have a little chatteroo. The dog's going mental because I said hello. If you say hello, the dog goes mental because he thinks you're talking to people. And I was talking to you out there on YouTube. Just been recording. I've just watched some matches from Uncensored 1996 for the Monday Night Project. They won't be coming out for a few weeks. So I like to get ahead, as I've mentioned many times before. My wife works. She works like day shift. She works a night shift. When she's on a night shift, I'm usually home by myself. So I record. So I like to get ahead of my podcasts, just in case anything happens. Because you never know what life may bring you. But they're all set up in the bag. They're all scheduled in the old email we sent on their specific days. So if you listen to the Memphis Continental Wrestling Cast, you would have heard the 3rd of November. I've recorded up until I think I'm now at the end of November that I've recorded. So that's how sort of far ahead I am, kind of thing. But like I said, otherwise I'm just sat on my John Todd, basically doing nothing, watching telly, and that's just shite. So me and the dog's usually down on the floor here, and I'm usually podcasting, so it's all good. That's probably slowed down now, hasn't it? Because I'm just trying to do the export audio. But yeah, so hope everyone's well. Hope everyone's had a nice weekend, whatever you've been doing. We've had WWE Bash in Berlin yesterday. Was kind of keeping an eye on it on the websites and stuff, and on YouTube, looking at clips. Seemed like it went very well. I don't know what the attendance was, what the arena was, but it looked like it was a full house. First time they've been in Germany First time they've been in Germany for like an event since '97. That sort of historical shit Monday Night Raw from, was it 2 weeks before Mania 13 or a week before Mania 13? But it's like historically one of the shittest Monday Night Raws of like 1997. That's the last time they've been to Germany for house shows and non-televised events, or whatever they call them. But yesterday at the Bash in Berlin was the first time that they've been back. I guess they'll be back again. So yeah, it seemed alright. It was decent enough fun. It was only 5 matches, but all those matches seemed like they went okay, and everything was it was telling a story and doing what it should have done. So. And then obviously last weekend was AEW's All In from Wembley. I went last year's one, which was the record attendance. But from what I've heard from podcasts, they did a smaller number, because I think they did 55,000 this time, but they raised ticket prices. So they basically made the same amount of money, whereas last time they did 90 something thousand, I think, and they were sort of charging cheap money. I for mid Wembley, I paid I think just under 200. I think like 180 quid. I think something like that. £180, whatever you want to call it. I think that was probably over the 200 mark this time. So if you watched it on television, there was empty seats. I think they carpeted or whatever they call it, papered a lot of it off. But I think they made the same amount of money because what they lost in seats, they hiked the ticket prices up. I think, if that makes sense. I'm sure that's what I'd heard from what was it, a podcast I heard? A Dutch Mantel's podcast, WSI, with the story time with Dutch. So yeah, that happened. I saw a few matches because it was on ITV over here, 4 or 5 days later, and because they put ad breaks in it, it goes from like a 2.5 hour event live to like a 5 hour event on television because of the adverts. So I watched bits. I kind of, if you know me, I don't watch modern stuff, but I follow it. I know what's happening. I like to watch like little YouTube clips of WWE. I look at the results on like a Tuesday morning and a Thursday morning and a Saturday morning kind of thing. I'm very aware of what's happening. I like what I see. I'm looking forward to on Netflix in January, and obviously Netflix is starting to get very wrestling orientated. Coming up, they've got the Queen of Villains documentary or series of documentaries, whatever it is, about Dump Matsumoto, and then the end of September we've got this McMahon mastermind puppet thing that's coming out for a series. So Netflix is getting very wrestling orientated, which is good because I did an interview this afternoon with Bob Smith, the Outdated Wrestling Hour Bob Smith. This episode should be coming out this coming Friday, and like I said, I think them being on Netflix will add extra eyes to the product because there will be some people who don't know that they don't follow wrestling, so they won't know it's coming on to Netflix. So when it does come onto Netflix, they'll go, "Oh, wrestling! I used to watch that when I was younger," or "I've heard of Roman Reigns," or "Is that where John Cena wrestles?" or "Is Hulk Hogan still there?" There's going to be a lot of people going, "Is Hulk Hogan still?" or whatever, "Oh, that's where Randy Savage used to wrestle," or "Is Steve Austin still about?" So I think it will draw a lot of new/old eyes to the product, which is good. And I'm looking for, because I think the network's coming over to Netflix as well, so you'll be able to watch like the old stuff. Hopefully, like whatever they've got. I haven't got network. I haven't had the network for a while, but hopefully they'll transfer all their old content to Netflix, so then I can sit at work. And like I said to Bob as well, Netflix isn't just on your television; it's on your phone, so you can be sitting on the bus watching Netflix. So I think it's going to bring a lot of attention to the wrestling, which is a good thing. And I think it will. I don't think it will be the demise of AEW, but I think it will maybe send a lot of people away because Netflix is going to be cheaper, I guess, than what do we pay over here? $9.99? Do we pay $9.99? I'm not entirely sure what we pay over here. But yeah, whether or not, hopefully the price of it doesn't go up too much. Nothing's been sort of announced yet that the prices are going up. But like I said, I think the number of people that will come who will then spend that $9.99, it will then boost everything up. So hopefully them coming over won't... the amount of people that will join will not have... which will mean that the payment will have to go up, you know what I mean? So hopefully that'll work. So if you're about and watching, come and say hello. Come and say hello in the chat. We can talk. I can... answer questions, whatever happened there. If you're out about, what time is it in the States? About 3:00 in the afternoon, East Coast. So if you're out, if you're in the other side, if you're in Europe or whatever, you might still be watching this late hour. But yeah, we've got Memphis Continental Wrestling Cast came out this week. Tomorrow is Monday Night Project, covering March of '96 WCW, or could be the February time. I can't remember what I've recorded. Like I said earlier, Tuesday will be In Your House. It will be In Your House Ground Zero. So we've covered a few matches from that because the In Your Houses have now changed from 2 hours to 3 hours. I'm not sitting here for 3 hours covering matches like Brian Christopher versus Scott Putski, or mini matches or stuff like that. So I'm picking sort of the best matches from the shows, and then that finishes in November. And then after that will be Crossing the Mid-Atlantic, brand new podcast coming to the Old Bakery Productions, where I basically watch Mid-Atlantic Championship Wrestling, or Mid-Atlantic Wrestling, whatever you call it. So that's going to be happening. I've already recorded the pilot / debut episode, the 12th of September 1981. Young Jake Roberts debuting Sergeant Slaughter, Abdullah the Butcher being sent to the ring on behalf of Roddy Piper, and it's all good stuff. So come and say hello if you're about. I won't bite. And like I say, we can see what's going on. What's happening? Everything's okay, I think. We're doing okay. Got a good connection, which is all good. What else is there happening in the world? Oh, football or soccer back in the UK. It's been back now for about a month. The Premier League started last weekend. I think then the lower leagues have been back now for a couple of weeks. So that's back. They'll be going on a break soon. So it'll be international soccer. England will be doodaring. I think American football's back this weekend, isn't it? Let me just have a look, because they'll be on Sky. No, I think it's definitely. I think it might be next weekend that American football's back, because we get it a lot over here. It's a big deal over here in this country. Obviously, they come and play. They'll come and play the games over here. I think they come and play a few games over here now, and then we get it on Sky like all the time. I prefer baseball, to be honest with you. I used to be a fan of NFL back in the day, but it's just a bit over the top now, I think. But yeah, I prefer watching baseball. It's a bit more relaxing. Someone's drunk me tea. Luckily, I've got some squash in my big cup. That's it. Yeah, so I prefer baseball really. Just a bit sort of slower, and just a bit. You sort of sit there and just sort of relax watching baseball. I think if you're watching American football, you're trying to see where the bloody ball is half the time, when they're trying to tackle it and drop it and fumble it and punt it and whatever happened. So so that's happening. Basically, I guess baseball finishes in like a month or so, end of October, doesn't it? So we get it over in this country, but we get it on TNT Sports. Used to be BT Sports, it's now TNT. I think TNT Sports is part of the Discovery conglomerate, whatever. So we don't get it for free, which is a shame. BBC show a lot of the show some of the post-season games. Is it post-season, whatever you call it, playoffs and all that kind of stuff. BBC play it, 'cause it's kind of popular over here, because they started doing the London series in the London Stadium, where West Ham play. They've started doing that now for a few years, so it's popular over here, baseball, but I think not as popular as American football. Obviously not as popular as soccer, because nothing will be as popular as soccer in this country. So yeah, so that's happening. You can, like I say, come and say hello. I think there's a few people watching, but come and say howdy. I won't bite, like I say. I'm just here sorting out my podcasts, attaching stuff, getting it all ready to be sent out to the big wide world. You may have heard last week I did a tribute to Sid, the late great Sid Udi, who passed away this time last week, I think. So that is out in the ether. I'm always sort of on the lookout for just popping a podcast out here and there. I do enjoy what I do. Sometimes gets a bit tedious, just sort of sat here by yourself watching wrestling, talking to yourself, thinking that just hoping that someone's watching and or listening and enjoying. Because I'm not on social media anymore. Well, I'm on Facebook, but the podcast isn't on Twitter anymore because I took it off there. Didn't like that. I don't get sort of instant feedback kind of thing, so it's nice if people leave a review. It would be nice. I get sort of feedback on videos that I post on here on YouTube, but yeah, it would be nice if I got like the odd sort of, I don't know, just to know that I was doing well. It's all good. It's all well and good. Scott, the boss man, saying everything's going well, but it'd be nice to hear from like Joe Public to know that I'm doing okay. But like I said, I've said before, always knew my place in the podcasting world would be sort of very much lower down the pecking order. I'm never going to be, a Jim Cornette or a Conrad Thompson or anything like that. But just be nice to be thought of, that I do a good job. And I try to make everything sort of smooth and sound good and all that kind of stuff. I do try my best on that kind of frontage. So, yeah. I'll stay on for a bit and then I'll disappear because there's no point in talking to myself again. But if you, I can see that I've got a concurrent viewers. It was one. It's now gone to 0. But obviously you'll see this not necessarily live. But if you are watching this not live and you do enjoy everything I do, if you do listen to the podcast, just drop me a comment and just say that you're enjoying it or you're not enjoying it, or is there anything that you would change, or at the minute I'm happy with what I'm doing, but if someone goes, oh, you might want to try doing this to improve sound or something like that, I'm all ears. I'm all ears. But yeah, if you're watching this and it's not live, you're watching this in a later date and you think, oh yeah, I like his stuff, I like the Memphis stuff, I like the Japan stuff, I'm available on all good podcast suppliers. You can just search Memphis Continental Wrestling Cast, Hamburg All Stars, Monday Night Project, In Your House Weekly, Pure Rose of Passion. I'm about in places. I'm available on all the big uns, either through the Place to Be Wrestling Network or on Old Bakery Productions Network. I just thought I'd create my own network because it's a bit easier to find stuff. Because Place to Be's got a lot of other podcasts. So if you're looking for an old episode or something, it's a bit easier to look back on the Old Bakery Productions than it is on Place to Be. And also, if there's anyone out there who has a podcast or has a thought of doing a podcast but can't afford the hosting gimmicks and all that kind of stuff, let me know, and I'm more than happy to have a podcast on the Old Bakery Productions. I'll help share it out and all that kind of jazz. It doesn't have to be wrestling. If you've got a podcast about gaming or just life, I'm more than happy to put it out there on the Old Bakery Productions Network. Again, drop me a comment, or you can't really email on YouTube, can you? You can find me on Facebook or whatever. Just search for Luke Jennings, and you'll find me on YouTube, on the Facebook, and we can talk and just see what you've got and what you want to do and all that kind of stuff. I will not charge you a penny. I'm more than happy to pay for. Well, I'm paying for anyway. I'm paying for the monthly costings for my own podcasting network. So I'm more than happy to, help shill stuff. So. Also got the Patreon, patreon.com/MemphisCast if you want to just help the network. £3 a month. You don't really get anything, but it just shows that you care. You're not getting, it's not like a Conrad or anyone else out there who does stuff where you sort of get extra content. You're basically paying for the podcasts that you listen to. So, but yeah, that's happening at the minute. I need to just schedule the publish date. That needs to go on to there, I think. Soon find out when I do that. And then we go there. We're live, pal. The 30th. 21st. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm just doing this while you're watching. I'm just sticking my podcast on scheduled over there on Transistor. Yep. So through the Old Bakery Productions network, we've got listeners in the United Kingdom, in the United States. So we've got some listeners in Kentucky, Florida, New Jersey, Wisconsin, Maryland, Michigan, New York, Tennessee, and Alabama. We've also got some listeners in Ontario and Quebec, and we've also got some listeners in Russia, some in Moscow and some in Pskov Oblast. So, people, it's a worldwide network. People are listening to stuff. Not many, but I'm getting obviously more listeners on the place to be. But this is Old Bakery Productions is very new. It's only been going a little while, so that's why. But like I said, I'm more than happy for someone to, if they've got an idea of a podcast they want to do. Like I said, they don't want to be paying the fees. Then I'm more than happy to have the show on there, and we can all work together and get the podcast network working. So I'll stay for a little bit longer. What else is there to talk about? Weather's been alright over here. Yeah. We've had quite a warmish summer. There was a couple of weeks ago, where it was like 30 degrees, which wasn't pleasant for when you work outside, which I do. As you can probably tell by the tan. You probably can't see it very well on the camera, but I've got a hell of a tan. Recently shaved my head as well, as you can see. That's starting to grow. I did it last week, so it's starting to grow. It was shorter than this, but it's starting to grow nicely. So, dog's having a dream. Yep, just having a little dream. I don't know if you can see him. I don't want to move my camera because it'll just be a pain in the ass. He's just laying down there. He likes to lay under my feet. Yeah, not much else to talk about, really. Podcast I've been listening to, as always, is Our Vantage Point, Booking the Territory each every Friday. Greetings from Allentown with Peter Winson and Keithy Langston. It's one of my favourites. Stick to Wrestling with John McAdam, I like listening to. Depends what he's talking about. If he's talking about like 1984 WWF, I kind of skip those episodes because that kind of stuff's been talked about to death, really. I'm also recently got into Shut Up and Wrestle with Brian Solomon. That's a decent little podcast where he talks to various people about various topics. He recently had Joe Murata on there from Our Vantage Point. I think he had recently an archivable episode about talking to Kevin Sullivan, who recently passed. So yeah, there's plenty of podcasts out there. You don't just have to listen to your Conrads and your, Cornets and stuff. There is podcasts out there that cover a whole range of wrestling topics. We've also got the Place to Be Wrestling Network, North South Connection is a nice little podcast network out there that covers a whole range of. It covers Game Changer Wrestling. It covers Lucha Underground. It covers modern stuff, new stuff. It even covers no wrestling. You got the Jenny Position. You got things like Hail to the Keith, I Look Out with Keithy. So there's a whole range of stuff over there as well. If you listen to the shows, you'll know that if you listen to my shows, you'll know I'm always promoting other podcasts, because I think that's how people get. If it wasn't for Jim, I used to listen to Jim Cornette Experience / Drive Through. They used to promote Booking the Territory, which then I started listening to, which then started to promote Our Vantage Point. Our Vantage Point, which I used to listen to. They used to promote Greetings from Allentown, which then got me onto that. Greetings from Allentown then started to work with Keithy, who then he has podcasts on North South and on this. So that's to me, that's not all about self-promoting. Self-promoting is great, but it also helps to promote other people, because you may send some ears to someone else who then go, oh, I remember like Greetings from Allentown is covering 1989 WWF. They're now in October of 1989. Some people may remember that, so they'll go, oh, I remember listening to that, and I'll go back and listen to the rest of 1989 that they covered. Or, Booking the Territory is covering very early 1993. They're around February. That's Super Brawl. They're now building up to Super Brawl 2, the White Castle Fear match. that'll jog someone's memory. They go, oh, I loved that event, or I loved WCW in 1993. So they'll go back and they'll listen to, Book in the Territory, and then they might sign up to the Patreon, and then blah blah blah. And so and that sort of leads someone down a fucking rabbit warren, a rabbit hole of stuff. So it all, in my view, it's all good to share. Someone, I did an interview today with Bob Smith. If you're old enough and you used to read PWI, you will remember the name Bob Smith as he used to work for PWI. So you'll listen to some of his stuff, and it's just word of mouth and all that kind of shit, I think. So it's all good to promote other things. Everyone, some of the big names are all too worried to, make their brand number one, but maybe share some of the love down to, not the little guy, but the smaller podcasts that aren't, listened to, but are very good content and very good quality. IVP, Joe Murata, is up on his production. He's hell of a production guy, hell of a sound guy. A lot of OVP stuff and a lot of stuff that's had Joe Murata's hands on, it sounds a lot better than something that Conrad does, or other guys like that. Sometimes their sound quality will put you off. I've listened to stuff like from Conrad, and the sound quality's been that shit, and the microphone's been twanged and done with, and the audio levels of what they're watching is so low, but their audio levels are so high, or vice versa. Bushwhacker. So it puts you off listening. You think, well, you're supposed to be, some of these guys are supposed to be like the top dogs, the big boys of podcasting, but actually their stuff sounds shitter than someone doing it in their basement, or someone doing it in a room or something like that. This is my podcasting studio. I am in my podcasting studio, which is also my bedroom. I've got a small microphone here that I bought from Amazon a few years ago. I've got a set of headphones that were gaming headphones. They are getting replaced. I've bought myself a new pair from Temu, and that's all I do. I adjust my volumes on OBS and just hope for the best. OBS, hope for the best. But so not the big guys, the big names aren't always the best. So I'm definitely not the best, but I'm just saying that, I'm just saying things to fill time. There are 2 people watching. If you're about and you want to chat, just come in on the chat and say hello. Come and tell me where you're from, who you are, what you're doing, all that jazz. Oh, does it? So it tells you who's... Oh, so does it tell me who's watching, or is it just participants? So just come and say hello. I can see what you're saying and everything. Say what you see what you say. Just come say hello, say where you're from. Do you enjoy the podcasts? Do I do a good job? It's all good in the hood. Hello. Is there anybody out there? Don't think there's anything else that's happened really. Is everything good wrestling wise? Nothing big coming up now, is there? September. I think NXT's got a thing tonight, I think. Haven't they nicked the name again from an event that was back in the day? They seem to do that with their events, and they seem to be all like Great American Bash and Heatwave and what's it called? What's the event called tonight? I don't know. TNA's doing stuff as well, isn't it? TNA, JBL's been appearing in places for some unknown reason. I don't know why. He's appeared in GCW and Mexico and No Mercy, that's it. NXT No Mercy. For whatever reason they're calling stuff old like WWE names and old WCW names, and you got Zachary Wentz versus Wesley, Kalina Jordan versus Wendy Chu, Chase U against Axiom and Nathan Fraser. Abafemi versus Tony D'Angelo. Roxanne Perez versus Jade Park. And Ethan Page versus everybody's favourite Joe Hendry. So I don't get the whole gimmick, but that's just me. Wasn't Zachary Wentz just in fucking TNA last night? Didn't he win the... Yeah, he was in TNA. He was in the TNA Emergence pay-per-view, Louisville, Kentucky. Zachary Wentz defeats Mike Bailey, Hammerstone, Jason Hotch, Larada Kid, and Riley Osborne in the Ultimate X TNA X Division title match. Or was he one of those ones that keeps crossing the boundary, or whatever it's called, opening the door? Or TNA are working sort of with WWE, and the Jordan Grace has been there and stuff, and Mickey James at the Rumble, something like that. I think a while ago. So yeah, it's good to see. It's good to see that promotions are working with each other now, and WWE's happy to work with people. But that's because obviously Vince has left and Triple H is in charge, and you get a sort of an actual decent human being running the company, not a goddamn fuckface, whatever Vince McMahon was. So. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to love you and leave you, I think. See you on telly for an hour or so before I go and pick up my wife. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Like I said, if you're watching this and it's not live, leave a comment if you want and see, and make sure you, if you're enjoying the shows. If you're not enjoying it, let me know, and I'll see what I can change. And then also if you have a podcast that you would like help with, not help, but like promoting or whatever, and I can put it on my network and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, thanks for watching, and yeah, enjoy the rest of your day. If you're having a nice weekend, tomorrow for us in England is work, but it's Labour Day in America, so have a nice time, and we'll see you soon. Ta-ta!